Now at 6 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, Victoria police arrested a woman in connection to a shooting near Christ Kitchen. And a Corpus Christi murder suspect shot dead during an officer-involved shooting south of San Antonio. Plus, new reports shows an increase of migrant children in custody.
We will be taking a look at your weekend weather. Oh, it's the long weekend. Yes, it's Labor Day weekend, and we have a few little showers moving into our area. We'll talk all about that coming up in a moment.
And we take a deep dive into the two Crossroads teams for the game of the week. That's coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Karina Garcia. Don Brubaker is off tonight. Victoria police arrested a woman in a shooting Wednesday near Christ Kitchen. A 29-year-old man was hit and at last report was in stable condition at a hospital. The 27-year-old woman faces charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Now here's a closer look at the suspect arrested. Her name is Maria and she is at the Victoria County Jail in lieu of a $100,000 bond. Court records show she's had several issues with the law since 2017, most recently for public intoxication in August of 2021. This morning, just before 8 o'clock, 7:40 a.m., authorities with the VPD SWAT team and Special Crimes Unit executed a search warrant at the house in the 1000 block of Melrose Avenue. The Victoria County Sheriff's Office placed a temporary secure-in-place order on Shield Elementary School. The campus was nearby the incident, so this was done simply as a precaution. Now, traffic was backed up for miles along a central Texas interstate following a deadly officer-involved shooting today. The shooting happened around 10 a.m. along Interstate 37 south, just south of San Antonio. A Acosta County Sheriff's deputy said no officers were injured, but a suspect was killed. The victim was a murder suspect out of Corpus Christi. 2 people were pronounced dead at the scene, including the suspect following a shooting at the shopping center in Austin Thursday. 3 other people also sustained minor injuries. Now, authorities also said there was no threat to the general public, but the relationship between the suspect and the victims still remains unclear at this time as authorities search for a motive. And now let's take a pause on the news and go to the weather with Chief Meteorologist Mac Bettis with your Labor Day weekend weather.
Well, yes, a lot of people plan to be out of town. For us, we have this little stationary front along the coastal areas, and that's going to enhance our chance of shower activity beginning on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Now, Monday is Labor Day, but this will be little garden variety showers, and I don't think you're going to complain if you catch one. Actually, take a picture of it. It'd be so nice. And we'll talk about temperatures actually cutting down out of the hundreds. All that coming up in just a moment. Karina?
Mac, thank you. The number of migrant children in U.S. Health and Human Services custody spiked more than 30% in 1 month. That's according to a new Health and Human Services report and a report from the Department of Homeland Security. The beginning of August, there were 700 unaccompanied migrant children in custody, and that number jumped to nearly 10,300 on August 30th. Also, at the beginning of August, children were staying in their care facilities for about 27 days, but kids are now being brought in at a faster rate than they are being transferred out. More than 10,000 unaccompanied migrant children were encountered in July, up from about 7,000 in June. And now also at the border, activists against Governor Greg Abbott's Operation Lone Star held rallies. The Frontera Texas Coalition hosted a border-wide day of action in various cities along the Texas-Mexico border today. The executive director of the Border Network for Human Rights called on Governor Abbott to end Operation Lone Star and for those running it to get out.
We want these soldiers, DPS, out of our communities. We don't want you here. You don't belong here. Yes, it is you. The Texas National Guard should not be doing this job. It's not your prerogative. You are doing something that is illegal. They should withdraw from this community now. They are creating a lot of danger, injured, and a lot of fear in our communities.
And vigils were scheduled from El Paso all the way down to the Rio Grande Valley. In 2 states, police are on the hunt for prison escapees, one on the East Coast, the other on the West, and authorities say both men are considered extremely dangerous.
U.S. Marshals now joining dozens of law enforcement agencies in the search for this man, 34-year-old Danilo Cavalcante, who police say escaped from Pennsylvania's Chester County Prison just before 9 o'clock Thursday morning, about 30 miles west of Philadelphia. Cavalcante, who is from Brazil, was set to be transferred to a more secure state facility in just 4 weeks after being sentenced to life in prison without parole for fatally stabbing his former girlfriend 38 times in front of her 2 young children. It's unclear exactly how Cavalcante managed to escape, but authorities say he is extremely dangerous.
I think people need to be on high alert. This person is dangerous. He has killed someone. He is alleged to have killed another person. So people need to take every precaution possible, lock your doors.
He's also wanted for a 2017 murder in Brazil. 5 feet tall and 120 pounds with curly black hair, Cavalcante was last seen wearing a white T-shirt, gray shorts, and white sneakers. More than 2,000 miles away in Oregon, police have captured 39-year-old Christopher Prey. Charged with attempted murder, police say Prey managed to escape from a state psychiatric hospital in Salem Wednesday night, despite being secured in full restraints and leg shackles. The suspect stealing a white Dodge Caravan like this one from a hospital worker and taking police on a high-speed chase, according to authorities.
These are just the latest in a series of high-profile prisoner breakouts this summer. Experts say prison staffing shortages are one factor behind the uptick in escapes. Alexis Christoforous, ABC News, New York.
4 more of former President Trump's co-defendants in the Georgia election interference case have pled not guilty. Along with entering their plea Friday, Mike Roman, Harrison Floyd, and Scott Hall also waived their right for an in-person arraignment hearing in Atlanta next week. Roman is a former Trump campaign official and is charged with 7 crimes, mostly in connection with his role in the fake electors plot. Floyd is also facing multiple charges, including intimidation of an Atlanta election worker. And Hall is facing 7 charges, including 2 counts of conspiracy to commit election fraud and connection with the breach of voting systems in that county. On Thursday, the Pentagon launched a website to give the public easier access to declassified information about UFOs. The Pentagon officially refers to UFOs as UAPs. Officials believe it will shed a light on the work done by that office that coordinates efforts across federal agencies to detect and identify UAPs. The site includes photos and videos. So far, there are only a few videos, some of them labeled unresolved or unclassified, with short explanations of official assessments. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. For now, stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 6. In Philadelphia, investigators scurry to find answers after a 12-year-old body was found in the garbage. Also ahead, we take a closer look at the cleanup and rescue efforts in Maui after the devastating wildfires.
Here's a look at what's coming up on Community Crossroads. We hear from the Texas Tribune. We also learn about National Night Out, Pam Health, and we hear a fantastic performance by Tasman and Tim.
A shocking discovery in Philadelphia after police find the body of a 12-year-old boy placed in a trash can. Philadelphia police say a sanitation worker picked up a trash container from a street last Tuesday and took it to a nearby storage facility where it was housed overnight. A day later, the worker discovered the body. Authorities said an autopsy showed the boy was shot in the head. Family members were then made aware and were able to identify the body of the boy.
On August the 23rd, that same PHA employee drove the sanitation truck with the container back to the 5500 block of Cherry Street to gather more trash. During the drive, the container overturned and the remains of a male were observed inside that container with a plastic wrapped around the head with a comforter over him.
Authorities said the Philadelphia Police Department is working with its homicide unit to solve the case. Tonight, Hawaii's governor plans to give an update on the search and rescue efforts following the deadly wildfires in Maui. The governor expected to highlight how the number of those unaccounted for has dropped below 100.
It's been more than 3 weeks since wildfires devastated Maui, including the historic area of Lahaina. But Hawaiian officials now say they've almost completed their search and recovery efforts there. The death toll remains at 115 as the search for the unaccounted for is also nearing its end. In a new video message, Maui's mayor claiming he was not aware of the intensity of the full extent of the damage and loss of life until the following day.
There are no words that can adequately describe the depth of sadness and the shock of realizing lives had been lost. It was difficult to fathom the magnitude of the destruction at that time.
During a visit to FEMA, President Biden pledging more federal aid to the agency for Maui and other areas suffering natural disasters.
Calling on Congress to make sure you're able and have the funds to be able to continue to show up and meet the needs of the American people, as well as the long-term commitments that we have to make to finish the job in Maui and elsewhere.
Hawaiian officials are working with the EPA to remove hazardous waste. Once the area is deemed safe, return to Lahaina will begin for residents and business owners. Some of those business owners and local workers say the fire brought a double hit on their economy.
The stress of are we going to be able to even stay open? This is the most biggest stress that we have.
While Lahaina remains closed, the rest of the island is open to tourists who will be needed to rebuild Maui's future. The governor of Hawaii is expected to address the community tonight with an important update on the search and recovery efforts, expecting to announce that the number of unaccounted for has dropped below 100. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Search efforts are underway after a passenger went overboard on the largest cruise ship in the world. The incident happened Tuesday on Royal Caribbean's Wonder of the Seas. The cruise was off the coast of Cuba when the passenger went overboard. The man's identity has not been released, but reports say there have been over a dozen man overboard situations on cruise ships since the start of the year. Labor Day weekend is here, and it looks like it will be one of the busiest days of the year. Here's more.
The summer vacation came back this year with a vengeance.
This weekend is capping what TSA reports is the busiest summer travel period on record.
And is ending with a boom.
FAA expects close to 50,000 flights today.
The TSA projects today will be the busiest day of the Labor Day weekend. More than 14 million passengers potentially packing airports now through September 6th. But on the horizon, a possible strike of American Airlines flight attendants, who overwhelmingly voted this week to authorize such a move. We asked Stan Sandberg of TravelInsurance.com if this weekend's travel could be affected.
You really don't have to be worried, but you should be aware of the changing circumstances.
And if you're heading to Florida, where Idalia canceled hundreds of flights earlier this week, briefly closing Tampa's airport, there's good news on that front.
There may be some residual delays, but I think most people can expect to have a pretty normal travel experience traveling to Florida.
However, travel experts also say to keep an eye on local guidance in the Sunshine State and consider rebooking if your plans include visiting some of the harder hit areas. For road trippers, gas prices are higher than usual for this time of year. The average hovering just over $3.80 a gallon this week, according to AAA. That's just a bit less than where we were this time last year. In Los Angeles, I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
Here's your viewer poll this evening. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. The question is, where are you traveling to this Labor Day weekend? Are you going to West Texas, Houston, San Antonio, Austin, or are you just simply staying at home? Well, according to these results, 85% are staying at home, and that seems to be our winner this evening. So we want to keep on hearing from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we're going to have an update on 25 News Now at 10.
Well, you know, we call that a staycation. So you stay home and you're on vacation. So you've got a chance for increasing showers, but that'll be nice compared to what we've been through. We'll talk about your holiday forecast coming up in a moment. Well, welcome back, everybody. A lot of people taking off for the weekend. A lot of people staying home. That's good. We're looking at a little bit of a change in our weather, but I think it's for the good. 96 degrees right about now. Believe it or not, we got up to 102 today. We're just getting used to it, aren't we? I mean, it's just like regular stuff. That's not our record, but it's pretty close. Now, of course, tonight, a lot of people heading out for football because it's football Friday night. Looking at 93 degrees for the folks heading out to Industrial. Cobra Field, clear skies, little east wind at 15 miles an hour. Have a great game, well, for everybody included. And of course, you'll notice that we're picking up a little bit of cloud cover coming in from the east. What's happening? Well, the dome is gone. That's the good news. That's allowing some of that moisture that we've been missing for a while to start tracking back into our area. We also have a little stationary front right about here. It's nothing significant, but it's going to induce a chance for us getting little daily afternoon showers in the afternoon. So let's just say we're going to be looking next week at a more traditional weather pattern. In other words, summer, when you get a cloud and then you get a little afternoon sea breeze coming in. So all of a sudden, things are looking a little bit more normal. Now, there's a 40% chance of rain on Monday. I don't think it's going to mess up your day. That'll be basically inland showers that pop late in the afternoon. Today, we got up to 102, as you saw right about there. Looking at forecast highs for tomorrow, still in the triple digits for pretty much anywhere you're going in Texas. I mean, you'd have to be going to Oregon or Washington State to get out of this incredible heat, but it's still hot. Temperatures, however, are going to be knocking down 2, 3, 4 degrees as we get into the week. Well, let's take a look at the tropics. Of course, Idalia is way offshore and it's falling apart, but irony of it all is that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and possibly 5 systems in the Atlantic right now at the peak of the hurricane season. So yes, it's peaking. The good news is all of that is going to stay out there. None of it's coming into the Gulf of Mexico. So we've got probably 7 days that we don't have to worry about anything coming at us from the tropics. So what do we look at as we get into the big weekend? Well, you'll notice this little stationary front and then a little trough rolling along the coast. Basically, it's lower pressure that's going to allow, you know, the pop-up of a shower or two here or there, and that's going to be good for about 3 or 4 days. And then it's back to, you know, a little bit more summertime, but at least there's a little bit of a decrease in the temperature department. I'll show you that in a moment. For those of you heading to the coast, got the boat ready, got the bait ready, got the license ready, all that stuff that you're going to need. Your sunrise at 7:06, your sundown before 8 o'clock at 8:45. That's good. That's a good trend. You're looking at afternoon sea breeze at about south at 5 to 10 with 2 to 3 foot seas. Now, your day planner for those of you in Port Lavaca, 77 in the morning, getting up to 95, lots of sunshine. And then for those of you in Cuero, we're looking for 73 in the morning, getting up to 100. That's not bad. Could be worse. And we've got lots of sunshine. So we've got a good looking weekend in the hundreds, but getting down into the 90s. That's because on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we've got a 40% chance of some afternoon showers, which would be kind of nice to have. That's your 7-day forecast. Have a great weekend. Just want to remind you, we've got a QR code. We'd love to for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here's Karina.
Thanks, Mac. And now here's Sports Director Gina Perez.
Hey, Karina, a big name in the Texas football world is joining the ACC conference. That and more after the break. At the Crossroads, the Shiner Comanches and Industrial Cobras are both looking for its first victory of the season. Sports reporter Zach Brown is at Industrial with the latest on the Comanches.
Thanks, John. I'm here at Cobra Field for our game of the week between the Shiner Comanches and the Industrial Cobras. Now at 5, we talked about how the Industrial Cobras really want to just execute better on both sides of the ball. But guess what? The Shiner Comanches say the same thing as well. They are coming off a big loss to the Hallettsville Brahmas, 41-8. It was just the first game of the season for head coach Daniel Bedeker's Comanches, who admittedly said before the season that this is a rebuilding year. Now, with that being said, he says having success is still the expectation for his storied program. Quarterback Carson Schutte will lead the way for Shiner, and they want to do the little things right, like listening to quarterback cadences and just wrapping up on defense. The Comanches also fell out of the state rankings after coming into the year ranked at number 9. Now the team says they don't really pay attention to that, but no doubt they want to get this thing back on track, and that starts tonight as this young team is going to have to dig deep and grow up really fast. Kickoff for this game set for 7:30. We have an exciting battle between two Crossroads teams on our hands, and no doubt both guys want to avoid that dreaded 0-2 start. We'll have highlights tonight at 10:20. Reporting live, Zach Brown, KVUTV 25 News Now Sports.
Thanks, Zach. The two teams featured in the game of the week are supported by their cheer squads and here they are. Great job, girls. Now let's go to our sports viewer poll. Who will win the game of the week between Shiner and Industrial? So far, the results are 60% of you say Shiner and 40% say Industrial. Thank you for voting, and if you would like to participate, go to crossroadstoday.com/sports. The Atlantic Coast Conference is expanding to 18 schools with the addition of a few schools, including one from Texas. Stanford Southern Methodist University, or SMU, and University of California, Berkeley are all making the move after a vote by the conference's board of directors today. In a statement, the conference announced the schools would be members with full voting privileges starting from July 2024. SMU will officially join in July 2024, and Stanford and Cal will do so the following month. They will begin competing in the ACC from the start of the 2024-25 academic year. That's your sports. Karina, back to you.
Thanks, Gina. We're going to be back in a moment. The moon has a new crater and Russia might be to blame. We have the story straight ahead. A new crater on the moon. The space agency says it was likely created when Russia's latest moon mission crashed on the moon's surface. It was Russia's first lunar lander in 47 years. NASA released the images you see here of the fresh crater, and you can also see the before photo from June 2022. The Russian space agency later said engine failure was likely the cause of the crash, and now they have marked the moon for forever, maybe.
Yeah, I think you're right. They should go up there and pick up that trash, don't you think? I mean,
well, now it looks more like cheese. You know, they call it the moon cheese. Now it's got one more hole to it. So.
Yeah, and you know, last week it was blue moon, so it was blue cheese.
Blue cheese. Oh, well, there you go.
Oh my goodness. But you know what's also this weekend? Of course, we have football tonight, but we also have Flip Flop Fest this weekend in Port
Flip-Flop
Lavaca.
Fest in Port Lavaca.
That's right.
Was it at the end of '87? That's where the party starts. So I think you're going to have a great time. Get down there because there's going to be a nice sea breeze blowing. Now, of course, it's warm tomorrow, about 101, but temperature knocks down a little bit, maybe 4 or 5 degrees because of the cloud cover and the potential for afternoon showers. These are little garden variety showers, not enough to mess up your weekend. And you know, if it started raining, Karina, would you go out and run around in the rain?
I would do a rain dance, a huge rain dance.
I would do that too. Run around in the rain would be a fun thing to do.
It's hard to run in flip-flops though. So.
Yeah.
But I mean, I might as well just take them off. You know how it's been a long time since we've had rain.
I guess, yeah, that's true.
Been so
Gotta
long.
go dance in it. Yeah. Alrighty, well, thank you for joining us. We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 10.